PAFRL Executive Director Rohana Hettiarachchi said with the completion of the elections, they met the elections chief and made a written request. He was confident of receiving a positive response within the next few days. If so, they are prepared to monitor the counting centres too. In the last few days, they witnessed a considerable decline in violence in comparison to the last elections. He was addressing a media conference in Colombo today. He further pointed out that more than 11,000 local and foreign monitors have been deployed to monitor the elections. The Saudi company that owns the vessel currently being held by pirates off the Somali coast with a 13-member Sri Lankan crew has decided to release 2 months' wages to the affected families. The local shipping agent said today that the monies will be channeled to the families in Sri Lanka through the Foreign Office in Colombo. Captain SHR Kumar said this was aimed at bringing immediate relief to the affected families. The crew had boarded the Saudi-flagged tanker from a port in Japan on February 14th. Meanwhile, Captain Kumar said negotiations are continuing in the Saudi port city of Jeddah between the relevant insurance companies on the ransom demand made by the pirates in return for the release of the vessel and crew. The MT Al Nazir Al Saudi was grabbed by pirates off the Gulf of Aden early last week and taken to the pirate stronghold of Garad on the Somalian coast. Plans are underway to make the Colombo harbour the hub of the Asian region. We now file a report by Sasanka Das.
Development and economy are the two main factors which lead to a successful country. The point where development and economy meet is the harbour or the port. So today we are here at the Colombo port to bring you details on one of the biggest projects in Sri Lanka, which is the Colombo Port Expansion Project. The government adverted attention on the Colombo Port Expansion Project with the main intention of expanding opportunities to meet the demand for services in the international marine industry. The project was undertaken in 2 stages after the identification of the feasibility of developing the southern zone of the harbour. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Colombo Port Expansion Project aims to make the Colombo Port the second biggest port in Asia. What is the current status of this project?
We are the hub port in South Asia at the moment. With the aim of expanding our existing port facilities, we have started this Colombo Port Expansion Project. Over this project, we are spending about $340 million initially to build the breakwater itself, and in addition to that, there will be another terminal in phase 1. That terminal contractor also has to invest about $450 million. So altogether, it's a $800 million investment. This project will change the economic situation in Sri Lanka.
Colombo Port Expansion Project. Now this project consists of 3 categories. One is the breakwater, which you can see from behind. The other is the CPC line and the internal roads which are being built across this premises. Now the main goal of this project is to expand the breakwater, which you can see from far away, to expand it to 5.1 kilometers. The building of infrastructure of the harbour and other constructions are due to be completed by April 2012. Construction of the first breakwater, which is 2,100 meters in length, has been completed according to schedule. Now, with all these developments, Sri Lanka prepares to become a paradise for tourists and a country which can attract investors. We are prepared to reveal you more details about the latest developments in Sri Lanka. Varun Alakmal, Suranjit Deshapriya and me, Sasanka Das for Prime TV News.
Moving ahead with more local news, tourist arrivals surged 67.7% to 57,300 last month from a year earlier, with steep increases in generating markets in India, UK and Germany.
38,464 visitors came to Sri Lanka last year amidst an intensifying war with Tamil separatists that ended in May 2009. The Tourism Development Office said in 2008, 40,551 tourists came in February. Visitors from Western Europe rose 71.7% to 26,850 in February, with UK rising 46.3% to 10,700. Arrivals from Germany were up to 122% to 5,656. Tourists' arrivals from France increased by 104% to 3,440. The increase of visitors from the Netherlands was 53% to 1,621. South Asian visitors rose 66.6% to 11,869, with India growing 94.9% to 8,383, Maldives up 20% to 2,500 and Pakistan up 34% to 609. Arrivals from Australasia were up to 32% to 2,067, and East Asia was up 93.7% to 6,104. Japanese visitors increased 50.6% to 1,306 visitors. From Malaysia rose 420% to 1,191.
US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton presented the Women of Courage Award to Sri Lanka's Janzila Majid at a ceremony at the US State Department in Washington yesterday. Mrs. Majid was among 10 recipients of the 2010 award. US First Lady Michelle Obama also attended the event and delivered a speech. She is the managing trustee of Community Trust Fund in Puttalam. The trust oversees a number of programs on minority and women's issues, including women's rights, peace building, relief work, working with young people and mine risk education in the north and east. Mrs. Majid's own particular focus is on uniting the Muslim and Tamil communities in her area. Having lived as an internally displaced person for almost 20 years, she has become an energetic activist for services for displaced Muslims and Tamil civilians, focusing particularly on grassroots programs on life skills, health and women's empowerment. Her activism began in 1992 with a working group of 5 people. She overcame both the general neglect of the problem of IDPs in the Muslim minority as well as her own community's strictures against women activists to build a broad-based organization that works on minority and women's issues in a highly sensitive and politicized environment. You're watching Prime TV News. We now give you today's foreign currency rates.